Good morning, everybody. December 29th, Thursday, early in the morning. I don't know what occurred last night, but it was not a good night's sleep. So luckily today's a rest day and we're all good. We've got a lot of great questions, and so I'll probably try to dive right in and see if I can get through a fair amount of them. There's some good ones out there. I don't know what it was last night. I just had my alarm set for 5, and every now and then you wake up before your alarm, your body's just like, the alarm's going to go off any second, and it kind of wakes you up. I laid there for a while, waiting for it to go off, tapped my phone. It was 3 a.m., not 5 a.m. And I was like, that's not good. This is not going to be a good outcome. Okay, here we go. First most upvoted question from James W. I tried posting this last week. We'll give it one more shot. I'm curious about the use of the hook grip for lifting. I'm sure I'm not alone in saying it feels very awkward in trying to learn to use it. Is this a must-have skill to advance in barbell work? What are some of the benefits that would apply to someone interested in just GPP, general physical preparedness, and not necessarily chasing PRs? In other words, am I wasting my time and my thumbs trying to use the hook grip? Great question. So first of all, I like the framing of the question, right? Because yes, we do Olympic lifting, but we're not Olympic lifters. We do powerlifting, but we're not powerlifters. We do gymnastics, but we're not gymnasts, etc., etc. So, we're professional. We professionally grab things from various communities that have value. And the hook grip has value. Short answer, could you get really fit, general physical preparedness, ready for life, and never hook grip a barbell? You absolutely could. It's certainly possible. That being said, I think the hook grip has benefits, and it'd be great if you got accustomed to it and learned how to use it. It sounds like you're new to the hook grip, and so that makes perfect sense that it feels weird, it feels unfamiliar, it feels painful and wrong. It's just probably uncomfortable and a bit foreign right now, and as you get used to it, that sensation will go away. So, just some bullet points I have for you. The hook grip, when done properly, helps keep the bar from rolling. Your fingers grab your thumb, and it actually helps pull your thumb, and then your fingers help pull your thumb around the bar for more purchase on the bar. Your fingers don't just grab your thumb and kind of smush it into the bar. They're actually grabbing your thumb and pulling it around the bar even more for an even better grip. Your thumb basically acts as something for your fingers to grab onto, because even though the bar has knurling, it is actually relatively smooth, all things considered. And your thumb is something decent to grab onto. And when done properly, a good hook grip is a good, firm, secure grip. It, in a manner of speaking, is actually less tense through some parts of the hand and wrist, and that is believed to having this good, solid grip that's not like this crushing grip on the bar, a less tense grip, if you will, but yet a firm and secure grip, is believed to create a more fluid environment, if you will, for the barbell to move, especially through the second and third pulls. And so everything about it should be a little bit better and create a more ideal environment for the barbell to go just where it wants to go. So that's the purpose of the hook grip. I know more people that hook grip than do not hook grip, but I certainly know people that have just been like, nope, not for me, not going to do it, and they're fine. So, but I would encourage you to play with it a bit, and I think as you get used to it and expose yourself a bit to it more, you'll enjoy it and reap the benefits of it. Okay, second most upvoted question. This is from Lexi H about food. Here we go. Can you talk a little about a day in your life regarding eating? How do you set yourself up for success with cooking and preparing meals? Okay, let me just say, I'll share it right here with you. I'm a boring eater. I do not enjoy cooking. I do not enjoy meal prep. I do not enjoy the cleanup associated with making food. But at the same time, I enjoy the benefits of eating real food. So I try to eat real food. I try to eat it as simple in a way as I can. And for me, that's okay. The way that I eat, I think it's delicious every day. It's highly repetitive, but just the way that I'm wired, I don't mind it. It might drive somebody else absolutely crazy, and they would think it's torturous. But me, I look forward, my breakfast is like the same every single day. I enjoy it every single day. So my breakfast every morning is profoundly boring. It's 5 scrambled eggs with nothing in them. No cheese, no seasoning. I just like the taste of scrambled eggs. 5 scrambled eggs, and then I weigh out 250 grams of fruit, whatever that fruit happens to be. Sliced up apples, bananas, blueberries, strawberries, grapes, you name it. Just 250 grams of fruit on the side. And I drink water with that. I have 2 cups of coffee, usually when I get up in the morning, and then with breakfast, by that time, I'm drinking water with my breakfast. That's my meal. Maybe it sounds like something that would be served to somebody in prison, but I enjoy it very much. That's my breakfast. Then when lunch comes around, I have some sort of protein. It could be something that I purchased specifically for lunch. It's also very frequently protein that's left over from a previous dinner, the night or 2 before. So it'll be some sort of protein that I'll weigh out to make sure I get enough of it. And I'll probably have, this is not exact, but somewhere in the neighborhood of, let's just say, half a pound of whatever that protein happens to be. And then I'll have fruit again, because I don't eat enough vegetables, and I'm 100% guilty of that. And fruit is easier and more convenient, and so I reach for it far more frequently than I reach for vegetables, and that's someplace I could certainly improve my diet. But I have fruit again. I weigh out about 250 or 300 grams of fruit for lunch. I'll have some sort of fat, depending upon what the meat was or was not. If it was a leaner meat or a fattier meat, I could have some sliced up avocado. I have an avocado mayonnaise. I think it's made by Primal Kitchen. I'm not sure, but it's mayonnaise. It tastes delicious, just like I think regular mayonnaise tastes delicious. But all it's made from is avocados. Period, end of story. There's no other weird miscellaneous processed crap ingredients in it. It's just made from avocados. So it's fantastic. So I can use that as well. And then I have water with that again. And it's delicious every single solitary time, personally, for me. Again, the fruit changes, the meat changes, but it's very similar to that. Then for dinner, whatever the family sits down and we figure out for dinner, and sometimes Emily makes it, sometimes I make it, we go back and forth pretty much on that. I would say, to be fair, I think I make dinner more frequently, which I feel bad for my family because I'm not a great cook. But we could grill something, whatever it happened to be on the grill, from steaks to chicken to burgers. We could make fish in the house. Could be meatloaf, could be chicken pot pie, something delicious like that. Could be anything like that. Usually, if vegetables are going to make an appearance, they make an appearance at dinner with some sort of a side that we'll have for dinner. Last night we had Brussels sprouts. So we'll have some sort of dinner, vegetables, sweet potatoes, mashed potatoes, whatever it happens to be. But it's not always vegetables there. There could be a particular loaf of bread, like a delicious loaf of French bread that is heated up in the oven and then cut into wonderful pieces, and you put some melted butter on it, and that's the carbohydrate that we have with dinner. It could be just a loaf of bread. Delicious with the crust that's kind of crunchy. Amazing. But when vegetables do make an appearance, they make an appearance there with dinner. And I'll have water again. So, other than my coffee in the morning, it's water throughout the day. That's in general, and I'll make sure I have at least half a pound of whatever that protein happens to be at dinner. In general, that's my eating. It's highly repetitive every day. The dinner changes all the time, which is great, but I never dread it. I think it's fantastic, and it works for me. So I don't know if that helps you, Lexi, but hopefully so. Okay, next most upvoted question from Stephen T. Thoughts on using kettlebells for the Leo workouts? Leo is L-E-O, stands for Limited Equipment Option. That's our dumbbell version that we put out every day. So thoughts on using kettlebells for the limited equipment workouts? Are there any movements where maybe I'll be shortchanged? For example, the handle is 4 to 5 inches higher off the ground if I'm doing single leg stiff-legged deadlifts, etc., etc. So, short answer, no, you won't be shortchanged at all. Kettlebells are fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And if you've got a pair of kettlebells of the same weight that you can do, similar movements to what we do with the dumbbells, it's just a 100% green light as far as I'm concerned. So that's how I'll answer that question briefly. And then the only things that I would pay attention to, you already made mention of, is you're going to be, if you're doing, let's say, a pair of kettlebells for deadlifts in place of doing dumbbell deadlifts or something like that, and if they're up the same loading, yeah, you're going to be missing about 4 to 5 inches of range of motion on the bottom there. That's not going to be the end of the world. You're going to be wonderfully fit in the whole 9 yards. Somebody said, where can you find the limited equipment option? They're on the private track. So on the private track, under the BTWB app, there's, I think, 5 options of the workout every day: prescribed, wild card, scaled, limited equipment, and no equipment option. So yeah, and only thing that you might do, if you so desire, if you want to regain that little bit of range of motion, you could stand on something sturdy, stand on a 45-pound bumper plate, or stand on something sturdy that has, a little bit of distance from the ground, something people would do deficit deadlifts on, and you could do your kettlebell deadlifts there. But again, you wouldn't need to. You'd be totally fine without that. Kettlebells for the limited equipment option, totally good to go. Now, there are some differences. For example, if the limited equipment option calls for a dumbbell power snatch and you have a kettlebell snatch and a dumbbell power snatch are kind of similar, but there are most certainly some differences. And I say kind of similar, meaning you're using one arm, there's hip drive involved, you're taking an object from a low position and getting it to a locked out position over your head. Those are similar, but the movement patterns are different to some degree, and you don't touch the ground with the kettlebell each time like you would on a dumbbell power clean. So there could be some small differences like that, but truth be told, you're going to be just fine for general physical preparedness. You'd be 100% good to go. So that's a full green light. And I'll tell you what, as if barbell thrusters aren't spicy enough, you go ahead and, like a 95-pound barbell thruster, then you go ahead and grab a pair of 50-pound dumbbells and you do dumbbell thrusters instead of barbell thrusters. You've increased the spice level right there. Well, if you want to increase it even just a hair more, you grab a pair of 53-pound kettlebells and you do the thrusters with a pair of 53-pound kettlebells. Now you're really getting somewhere. And true, you might be like, well, yeah, because 53 times 2 is now you're doing thrusters with 106 pounds compared to a 95-pound barbell. That's true, without a doubt. There's more loading there. But the awkwardness of a pair of kettlebells being used for thrusters is pretty extraordinary, and that's also a great thing. So you won't be shortchanged with kettlebells. Okay, couple questions that popped. Those were from the private track, the Facebook group. Now we've got some ones that popped up in the BTWB squad feature for Linchpin. Some good ones in here too I'd like to get to. One is from Shock here that says, interested basically in adding some sports-specific training and workouts around the general Linchpin workouts of the day, and particularly concerned would that maybe lead to some overtraining if you're doing too much on top of the Linchpin programming, etc., etc. So absolutely go for that, 100%. And I love that, to be quite honest with you. Not to go on a tangent here, but let's go into the Wayback Machine and remember, why are we doing CrossFit? Was it even a thing initially? You did CrossFit to be better at something other than CrossFit. Shocking, right? It was to be better at your sport or your pastime or your activity or something outside the walls of the gym. That's why you did CrossFit. Not to be really good at CrossFit. It was because you wanted to be stronger and more capable skiing during the winter, more stamina and leg strength mountain biking. You wanted to be better at rugby, football, baseball, whatever it happened to be. You were a police officer, firefighter, first responder. CrossFit was initially designed as your strength and conditioning program for life or for sport. And so if you're doing something with a sport, doing a little bit of sport-specific training makes absolute sense. So for example, if you are any sort of sport athlete, you're a basketball player, you're a football player, you're going to hit the weight room and you're going to have your workout session in the weight room. And then what are you going to do? You're going to go out onto the basketball court and do all of your sport-specific drills. If you are a football player, same deal. You're going to hit the weight room, then you're going to go out onto the field for all of your sport-specific training that day. And so you can think of CrossFit as your baseline general physical preparedness strength and conditioning program, for which you can layer on top of that any sport-specific training that you would like to do. It's funny, right? But it gets a point across where this question might come up every now and then at a seminar. And, Greg Glassman always used to use like a UFC example of that. He'd be like, look, let's say that you love mixed martial arts. Fantastic. And I'm training you. We're going to do CrossFit. And in doing CrossFit, I can tell you what, you are going to have leg strength for days and you're not going to gas and you're going to be explosive in your hip drive and your midline is going to be rock solid and you could get knocked unconscious in the absolute first round, because doing CrossFit isn't going to make you great at fighting. It's just not how it works. It's just your strength and conditioning program. On top of that, you need to layer on the specific training for that sport. And so I would say that's the same with whatever it happens to be. Now, depending upon how challenging and arduous the sport-specific training is, you just might have to have a little bit of experimentation in finding that sweet spot of tempering back one thing, adding a bit to the other to find where are you just humming as an athlete and not just exhausted every day. So there might be a little bit of experimentation there, but you absolutely should feel free to do that. I mean, that's really where it came from, quite frankly. Okay, let's see. Question from John F. Hey, I was wondering about your experience with the curved non-motorized treadmills. I have a traditional treadmill at home, but more often than not, it leaves me more sore than I feel that it should be, and I feel like my running form isn't improving. I live directly off a major roadway, and I'm not super close to a track. In your opinion, do you think the non-motorized treadmill, for example, something like an assault runner, is worth the expense? And let's see, basically, is it worth it? So, whenever I've been on one of those treadmills that you're speaking of, I've been a fan of it, quite frankly. So I think the short answer to the question that you're asking is, if I could have a traditional motorized treadmill or one of those self-powered, curved air runners, so to speak, which one would I choose? Without a doubt, I would choose the air runner, without a doubt. So, and I don't have all the studies. I'm not going to say that this is all factual information that I'm giving you right now. This is just personal experience and me having casual conversations with a bunch of people about their experiences as well. I feel pretty confident in saying that most people report their body feeling better and feeling less negative impact on that self-propelled curved one versus the old school flat motorized one. But again, I don't have a study to quote for you on that. That's just what my experience has led me to believe at this point in time. I mean, not like a regular treadmill is cheap, that's for sure, but those non-motorized curved ones are certainly pricey. So I would just say, if your budget allows and it's something that you can do without breaking the bank, it's a fiscally responsible thing to do given the expenses of the household, I would pull the trigger on one. I have one on my wish list for my garage eventually, and because I'm up here in Washington State, and plenty of the year it's just miserable outside, and it'd be really great to have one of those in the garage. So one day when I do pull the trigger on a treadmill, it will be one of those curved ones as well. So that's what I would go with. Okay, let's see. All right, 2 more questions, both from the same individual. They're good ones. So here we go. This is from Darren. Darren L. says, my sister has started running. She's beginning her fitness journey. I used to only run, but I have found Linchpin to be much better for my well-rounded, ready-for-anything workout program. Should I introduce her to Linchpin now or wait for her to get more fit before asking? It's a huge win for her to be doing anything at all, and I don't want to overwhelm her with new movement patterns and whatnot. What a fantastic question. Great question. You got to tread lightly here, and there's not just one answer because, I don't know your sister. You know her personality and what she would respond to probably far better than anyone else. If you've got somebody that, like you said, it's a big win that she's just out doing some physical activity, that in and of itself is fantastic. And I think you're on the right track with not wanting to overwhelm her and be like, great, you are starting to work out, you're starting to jog now, come on over to my garage and we're going to do thrusters and burpees. Most people would be like, yikes, that sucks. I'm not going to your garage anymore. No, thank you. I'm going to go back out for a run. What would be great would be just a gentle crawl, walk, run. Encourage her, celebrate what she's doing. It's fantastic. Ask some questions, be interested and engaged in what she's doing, and maybe that in a positive way. Like, you're not trying to push anything on her at all. You're just asking her about what she has going on and celebrating it. And that might lead to just some good conversations popping up about fitness, because she knows you're somebody that she can talk to that's interested in what she's doing, and you're not pushing any other agenda on her. And then as as you become someone in her life that she has these conversations with in a positive manner, there's probably a good chance that she'll ask you a couple questions. What do you have going on? Oh, you're doing that Linchpin thing. What's that been like? Oh, it looks a little intimidating. How about the weights? And you could gently open the door and talk with her about this. That would be a great way to do it, where it's, I don't want to say you want to trick her into it being her idea, but to some degree you want to trick her into it being her idea of like, maybe I could give that a shot. You're like, yeah, sure. Hey, we can, scale and modify anything to meet you where you are and make it happen. Certainly can do that, because the interesting part of what you asked is a classic thing, which is, should I introduce her to Linchpin now or wait for her to get more fit and ask? I would wait for her to ask through what I just recommended, but not necessarily the get more fit part. That's not necessary, and I think that's a common misconception. I think most of us had the experience of, no matter how fit we thought we were prior to CrossFit, assuming that most of us weren't doing mixed modality training, high intensity training, compound lifts, things of that nature. We were doing just, classic lifting of chest and tris, back and bis, going for some jogs, hitting the elliptical, like regular kind of stuff. CrossFit knocked all of us on our butts and made us feel like we weren't fit and never worked out a day in our life. So it's not like years and years and years of that training made the introduction, better. So thinking that you need to get in shape to start CrossFit is not true. Darn near anybody, wherever they are on their fitness journey, if somebody understands scaling, modifications of loadings, rep ranges, movements, and its intensity as well, and modifying that, we can make a nice entry for anybody. So she doesn't need to get more fit. What just has to happen is she has to be open and positive about the idea and the experience. So I wish you well with that. The final question, also from Darren, because it's a good one, and I don't mean to ruffle any feathers with this, but I might, because I know this is a topic people have very staunch opinions on, and oddly enough, I don't. So his question is, when recording your results for a workout, do the equipment replacement suggestions still count as prescribed? I'm guessing not, but checking to make sure. For example, yesterday's workout was a 6x400 meter run, but it snowed where I am, so I did the row substitution instead. Is that to be logged as RX'd or not as RX'd? I love seeing my placements, but if I choose anything other than the prescribed version, I don't get to see that. So this is basically the question, that if you so if we have a prescribed workout, and if there is a run, a row, or a bike in whatever the prescribed workout of the day is, underneath that we always have other equipment conversions. So that if you, for exactly this, you planned on doing Helen has 400 meter runs, there's a foot of snow outside, you're not going to run. All right, I'm going to go on the air bike, so I'm going to do 1200 meters on the air bike per round. That's what my Helen looks like today. I don't have an air bike, I'm going to do 500 meters on the row in place of the 400 meter runs. So that's what your Helen looks like. We give those other equipment conversions or substitutions under any workout that has a run, a bike, or a row. And now the question is, if you swap one of those out, do you still log that thing as prescribed? I would say the overwhelming consensus from the community is that if you do anything other than precisely what is written in the original workout of the day, that you log it as modified. Okay, so if you did Helen in that example and you did rowing instead of running, 500 meter rows each time, you would log it as modified. And another good thing is that it lives in your data, and the next time that it comes up, you can see how it went for you. I feel very confident saying that's how most people feel. The funny thing is, it really doesn't bother me, quite frankly, whichever one that you do. Yes, I understand that now, somebody might be a little bit better on a rower or bike than they are running, and so maybe that sways the time a little bit, and now it's logged in there as prescribed, and what did it do to the leaderboard? I understand, I get all that. It just doesn't really bother me that much, quite frankly, because the leaderboard's fun, see where you shook out, but in the good old school deal, like, it truly is you against you, and your data is what should be important, and logging your data in a way that makes sense to you, so that when you go back and you do that workout again, you can see how it went for you and then make any necessary modifications. So I'm not as hardcore about that in any way, shape, or form, but I know people are. But to be fair, I will admit that the overwhelming majority of the time, if I do swap out a run for a row, that I will log it as modified. So that's, I guess I kind of do that. I do what everybody is generally on board with, but not all the time. I might do something where maybe kipping pull-ups were prescribed, or kipping ring dips were prescribed in the workout. And let's say for whatever reason I just felt like doing strict that day, and I did strict. Well, I still did pull-ups, but I didn't do kipping, I did strict. I might log that as prescribed, and then make, under the notes section, I'll say I did strict pull-ups today instead of kipping. Now that might not rub anyone the wrong way, because in general that would make me log a slower time, not a faster time, if I'm doing strict pull-ups instead of kipping. And so that's probably not going to mess up anyone's position on the leaderboard, so that probably wouldn't be quite as egregious as some people would think. But that's my 2 cents on that. Okay, good stuff. Let's see here. Let me minimize this and minimize this, and we'll just end with a quick little shout out that we're almost in January, and we're doing a Linchpin Test every month, right? You can find all the Linchpin tests on CrossFitLinchpin.com under workouts. Go to the tests. There's 14 tests. We are going to be doing test number 5. I can't believe we're that far into the whole cycle in January. Linchpin Test 5 is a beautiful beast. It has your friend and mine running, hashtag running is stupid, and then it has everyone's favorite, a heavy barbell. So you load the barbell up to 225 pounds for men, 155 pounds for women. Of course, please use a rack. And test 5 is 20 back squats, 2 mile run, 20 back squats. There you go. Couldn't be simpler. You need legs, you need lungs, you need stamina, you need strength, the whole 9 yards. So the Test 5 challenge will take place from, at least the window to submit your scores, the challenge being live, Friday to Monday. Friday, January 20th to Monday, January 23rd. That Friday to Monday. And the registration will open about 5 days before that. And once we get a little bit closer, I'll share a link on social media so you can sign up and register and all that. You can obviously do it for free, like all the Linchpin challenges each month. Do it for free, get your name on the leaderboard, see where you shake out, have a blast. But you can also get some swag if you want. Every challenge, every month, you can get a black t-shirt or a black tank top. And this month, the unique shirt is green. So let's see here. Is there here? Boom, okay. Green shirt. Looks good. It'll have everyone's name and say January 2023 on the back. And then on this one it says lift heavy, run fast, which is cool. Usually it just says effective, not popular, but I mean, come on. We've got heavy lifting and running, so I figured lift heavy, run fast was a good thing to put on the shirt there. And then the other swag piece that will be making its appearance, back by popular demand, is the sticker pack. And so the stickers for this one are going to be one camo sticker, one classic orange sticker, and then two of these that are the same. You've got a sticker that says, I know this is reversed, sorry, it's in my mirror image of my phone, lift heavy, run fast. And then the other one says, running is stupid, but it works. And so you'll get 2 packs of those that you can put all over the earth. So 6 stickers total, I guess, is what you'll get. So that's it. So it should be a good time. Again, do it for free if you want. Do it for free. Get on the leaderboard, or get yourself a shirt and some stickers and have a blast. Lift heavy, run fast. And again, I'll make a dedicated video about this sometime in the future of, all the information you'll need and whatnot. But that's it, just to throw it out there. It's coming up in about 3 weeks. Hope you enjoy. So today's a rest day. You've earned it, and we will talk again later.